Hey everybody, it's Modern Native. So tonight I was going to be talking to you guys about the dangers of irresponsible influencers or content creators, people on YouTube, people on social media that gather a following that end up having a influence or a effect on how people go about their lives, make decisions, things like that. Now, there's a difference between someone who is aiming to be an influencer and someone who intends to be a content creator. Now, that's the difference between aiming for popularity or attempting to educate or entertain. Now, entertainment is where you kind of start getting that blurred line as to where between responsibility and foolish acts that get glorified. Now, when you got things like that going on, it gets into people's heads and they want to get the next big thing, and usually that entails something extravagant. Extravagance usually ends up being irresponsible or dangerous. Now, that's where you get the difference between someone who's an influencer looking to just be popular. They're usually showboating instead of sharing information, knowledge, experience, joy. That's one of the main differences. Now, as a content creator, someone who ends up getting a following or has influence over other people, you have an obligation to responsibility. You need to be responsible. You need to be caring and thoughtful when you are putting out your content and when you're creating things, because when it comes down to it, that's going to be there for a lasting time. Whatever you say and do will have a lasting effect. If you choose to be irresponsible, if you choose to be foolish, that will cause other people to be irresponsible and foolish. And yes, that is on you because you know you have that influence. Or after you discover you have that influence, you refuse to take responsibility, still your fault. Still your responsibility. And that's not just as, you know, people being foolish or dangerous or irresponsible to themselves. It's also outdoor content creators being irresponsible with nature, with their resources, overcutting, overusing, being very destructive to the environment. That's something that is lasting and showing, and people think, okay, well, this is how he did it on YouTube. This is how I'm doing it. Okay, yeah, he used this. I'm going to use this. Okay, so when you get down to that, that's it's not just you doing that damage. That's dozens, hundreds, thousands of people doing that damage because you taught them how to do that. So that's where I say we have a responsibility to show how to be responsible and not just look for the next big thing. When it comes down to it, it's when the environment is our responsibility. And this isn't just about the environment, this is about the social environment. What we put out there affects people in the long term, affects people on a grander scale, and can end up setting trends and social standards. So you have to think about that and you have to take responsibility that you can influence a lot of people. You need to do so responsibly. And for on the viewer side of things, you need to choose the right people to support, people who are responsible, conscientious, respectful. It's it's not about their mannerisms, their way of speaking, because I have a rough way of speaking. It's do they take responsibility for their faults? Do they acknowledge that they need to be responsible when they're doing something? Do they effect, take into account, couldn't think of the word, the environment, safety, and the concerns for the greater well-being and people in general? Do they take in do they take that into consideration? Do they put out things of value to try to help people have a better life, find more joy, do something better, learn a new skill? That's those are the people that you should be supporting, that you should be flocking to. And there are people who look like that, but you need to look through the facade. You need to look through that fake face that, they say they do this, they say they do that, but if you really pay attention, you really watch and you go through their history, you can see where they contradict themselves, where they make mistakes. And it's not just, looking for perfection, looking for mistakes. It's if someone says that when they make a bushcraft campsite that they take it down or they reuse it or, whatever else, especially if they use plastic or garbage. They say they do that. They say that they take care of it and pick everything up. But then somewhere down the line, they do a revisit video where they go back to something. You obviously didn't make a habit of cleaning it up because you didn't think this wasn't planned. You even said it wasn't planned. So you're going back to something that you constructed in the woods, used trash and plastic, but yet you had said that you always clean that up. There's the contradiction. So that's what I mean. It's things like that to look through the facade. And stay true to your values when it comes down to it. It's if someone is preaching something that is irresponsible, that's disrespectful to the environment, and like I said, even the social environment, it's when it comes down to it, you can choose not to support them simply because that's your choice. And you should choose to support those that hold your values and demand better. Call them out on it. I've done it. When you can see that a YouTuber is being contradictory and isn't practicing what they preach or blatantly lying, feel free to comment, say something, be like, you said you clean up your sites, but yet you leave garbage. You said that you follow the rules and regulations, but you even said that you make a comment about knowing that it's criminal what you were doing. It's those things hold people accountable. People always ask me all the time, "Oh, I hope you took care of your cigarette. Oh, I hope you pulled that plastic out of or the metal can that I melted to show people how hot the fire was. Oh, I hope you pulled that out of the fire. I hope you took care of your cigarette butt." I do, 100% every time. I've got a pocket full right now because I do it when I'm walking around. I got a pocket full of trash. Because I practice what I preach. I don't litter. I throw that stuff in my pocket. I always make sure when I put my cigarette out, I go to a rock and I crush it out. I make sure I smudge out all the embers. Make sure it's clean. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. So it's like, when it comes down to it, we as content creators, influencers, social media magnates, whatever you want to call it, we all have a responsibility, no matter how small, to be responsible, to preach and practice and teach people about how to do things responsibly, the right way, a better way. Not to say that things are wrong the way people do it, just your way, to share things, experience things. We all remember the Tide Pod eating dumbasses. It really wasn't their fault. Social media made that a thing. Content creators made that a thing. The first dumbass who decided to be like, "Oh, I'm going to do this as a prank to go viral." There you go. Started a trend right there. You do something stupid and irresponsible, there is a ripple effect, especially if you share it on social media and it happens to go viral because you know there's going to be a dumbass out there that does it. And it's not to say people are dumbasses, and don't take that offensively. It's simply the fact that's what it is. People are easily influenced. People are gullible, especially en masse. So and that's not me putting down people. That's not me feeling superior. That's just a point of fact. So when it comes down to it, be a responsible creator and try to be a creator, not an influencer. Because when you're aiming for that, you're already aiming for control. You're aiming for a god complex. You're trying to do something that's shouldn't be taken lightly, at the very least. But it's a nice little short one. I did it on the live because it's easier than uploading. But I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys think about that and consider it the next time when you are setting up your videos, thinking about your next prank or your next viral clip, whatever you're doing. If you want to make it long term, definitely think about responsibility and long term and everything. So there you go. Until next time, get out there, be a native, and go beast.